2024 Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. joins me. Nice to see you.
Good to be back, Greta.
Okay. Anti-Semitism. It's a terrible thing. I've got family members who are Jewish, and it pains me immensely. I believe it exists, but there's not one bone in my body that thinks you're anti-Semitic, and I just want to tell you that. Not one bone in my body.
I appreciate that, and I said this under oath today because I'm so angry at those charges. In my entire life, I have never uttered a single anti-Semitic phrase, word, anything, or racist. And, because of my family and because I've spent a lot of time in Israel and I have an organization over there, my support for Israel is stronger than anybody in Capitol Hill. I'm the only one who's demanded that Biden retract the $2 billion payment that he's giving to Iran, which is, going to be used for genocidal purposes. I've been smeared using phrases and things that I've said completely out of context and attributing meanings to them that I had never intended, and it's a way of censoring me. And
I don't think there's anything more painful, for a lot of people, especially who've been, out there fighting for different causes, than to have a false accusation like that. I just want to say that I know.
I'm very grateful for you saying that.
All right, now let's turn to government censorship. What's going on with this government censorship?
Well, the Judge Doty's decision, there's a federal judge in Louisiana. 2 attorney generals brought a case against the censorship by the White House. And by the way,
my husband has a companion one, full disclosure.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And I have 3 of those lawsuits now. I was being censored by the Trump White House, too. This is not a partisan issue. One of the things that it says in this lawsuit is that I was the first one that was who was censored by the Biden White House. Biden came in on January 21st, 2021. On the 23rd, White House officials contacted Facebook and asked them to take my account down. And I lost my Instagram account, which is part of Facebook, 3 weeks later, 900,000 followers. There was no misinformation on that account. Every posting that I made was cited to a peer-reviewed publication or a government database. They had to invent a new word called malinformation. Malinformation is, and this is in the judge's decision, is information that is correct, is factually correct, but it is inconvenient or disapproved by the government. So many of the things that they were censoring were things that had nothing to do with COVID. They were censoring Hunter Biden's laptop. At one point, they were asked to censor a parody of the president and Jill Biden. This kind of stuff, and they were threatened.
Why is this happening? We haven't even gotten to AI. I won't talk to you about that tonight.
Yeah.
But the first, we have on our lap, this thing that's social media, which is wonderful in some ways, but in some ways, we now have these other issues. So, if elected president, what do you do or not do about any of these things?
I will immediately, the first day in office, order an end to all attempts by federal agents and federal agencies to censor the speech of Americans. Political speech shouldn't be censored. There's a lot of other things that we can do.
They could also oversaturate, too. The government could also, oversaturate with the other viewpoint, too, if it wanted to combat something that they thought was incorrect.
Well, and that's what, Judge Learned Hand said, is he said that the remedy for bad speech is not censorship, it's more speech, But we also don't want, the government should not be able to propagandize the American people. And this was that was the law until 2016. In 2016, President Obama signed an executive order that made it now at least provided a loophole that allows government agencies not only to censor Americans, but also to propagandize them. And that executive order needs to be withdrawn.
I was looking forward to today's hearing because I thought there'd be a really good cerebral debate on these issues. And right out of the gate, it got fierce. And, it appeared to me that your own party was going after you, not for what you go, not on the issue of censorship, but there seemed to be sort of a subliminal message about running against President Biden. Am I wrong to be suspicious of that, or do you think it was part of that?
No, I mean, I think it's clear that that's, the DNC does not want me running against the president. First of all, you had 102 congresspeople signing a letter to the committee chair asking that I not be allowed to speak. So they actually tried to censor a censorship debate. And, I was in the debate for a very good reason, which is that
you've been censored.
Well, I was the key person being censored. I'm all over the judicial decision. And I was clearly censored for political purposes. And, that's something the government is not supposed to do. And Democrats ought to know that. I mean,
any Democrat pull you aside? Any Democrat pull you aside and say, I don't think it should have been handled this way?
No, that has not happened yet. But there are Democrats who didn't sign the letter. So, and I'm actually interested in looking at who they were. But, it's the DNC and the leader of the, kind of the attack was Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who
used to run the DNC,
who ran the DNC, and who was the architect of Bernie Sanders' ejection from the first place. So it's clear, I have a lot of appeal with rank and file Democrats. Our polling is showing that. When you get up to the upper echelons, to the people who want to protect President Biden and make sure that he's the candidate, the party people, I'm fighting an uphill battle.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., hope you come back. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Greta.
Thank you for being here. Coming up, back in